Alright, welcome to a video. This is the video I alluded to in my new main PC video, but I'm going to be upgrading my file server here. So I'm taking the old motherboard out, and we're going to be replacing it with this MSI B350 Tomahawk board. Again, this is another part that I got from that one guy who was scrapping his computer, along with this Ryzen 5 1400 and this 8 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM at 2400 megahertz, or if you prefer, 2.4 gigahertz. Now, I know it kind of looks a bit rat nasty on the cabling, but that's how I got it to work. So I'm going to start by unplugging all of the data cables from the motherboard and the expansion cards. This shouldn't take too long, hopefully. Famous last words, I'm calling it now. Move all these cables out of the way. To unplug these rear fans here. Just gonna make sure which cables are going where. Unplug that fan. Unplug those fans because the cables were in the way. Unplug this 4-pin CPU power, which thankfully most CPU power connectors are a breakaway 4-pin or a double 4-pin. Unplug the 24. Or as a lot of other YouTubers are calling it, the 20 plus 4. It's a 24-pin connector. 24, 20 plus 4, I don't really care on the terminology. It's the same connector regardless. Okay, cables, out of the way. Now, I did some off-camera prep. As you can see, I took the security bar out and changed out some cables from my hard drives, of which there are 8 in here. So now, time to unscrew the expansion cards. Get this. With a lot of cases, save your backing plates in case you have empty expansion slots. Okay? I'm going to try and go pretty quickly here. Don't want this video to take too long. Because when I originally built this file server, it took just around 40 minutes with the whole video. Thinking I did a whole lot of ranting and raving in there. Okay, now I've got all the expansion cards unscrewed. Take the video card out. Basically take all these cards out. Ethernet card there. There's some of the other ones over here. But anyway. Now to take the motherboard out. This board is a Gigabyte GAP35DS3L. This is the board I am replacing with that MSI board. Mainly because, sure, old hardware, is great, seeing how long it can still run for, but the main question with old hardware is always, when will it fail? That's always the big one. I want to be careful with these screws. There's one over there. check them out, see if I forgot any. Nope. Now to take the screws, I should say fully back them out of the standoffs. Being careful not to scratch this motherboard. So, just make sure the camera's still recording, because during my build video of my new main rig, it died halfway through. Make sure that all these screws are out, and with any luck, and it comes right out. Now I'm just going to salvage the screws. I'm going to set the board. I don't know where to set the board, so I'll just set it down somewhere. Take the old I/O shield out. There we go. Now be careful with these I/O shields, because you can actually cut yourself on these. Dropped the screw, but thankfully I recovered it. I/O shield going in. Alright, that's in. Grab the motherboard. Which, again, here it is, you know. Ryzen 5 1400 AM4 socket. Double check, make sure it's fully seated. Yep. And then very gently, hope it fits all the same standoffs. Might have to readjust a few. I don't know. I guess I'll find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh man, this uses all 9 standoffs. You know. Put the motherboard in temporarily, see where I need to put these standoffs. And set that there. So we need one on this corner, there, and pretty much everything else lines up. So I'll take the board back out, set it in the box. Thankfully, these cases come with a lot of accessories, like extra standoffs and motherboard screws. I've always wondered, you know, why are these newer boards, you know, much bigger? Again, I guess some of them are extended ATX. And again, this case is actually, you know, large enough to support just about any kind of motherboard, except for those, you know, crazy, you know, quad socket and super micro boards that you sometimes see a system getting built in. But I guess it could just be that, you know, times are changing. You know, motherboards get, you know, as with everything else, just with technology, you know, it waits for no one. So, now that I've got all the standoffs in, I'm going to put the motherboard back in. and try not to scratch it, you know, which would be very helpful. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a screw in to hold the board in place so I can put the rest of the screws in. Alright, so that one there. That one here. This one by the power supply is always a tight fit. There. That one. Now, you may have noticed that in the overview shot of the board, that there are only 4 SATA ports, but I've got 10 drives. I would have gotten a board that had, you know, 10 ports natively, but a lot of those boards, you know, either they're an X370 or they're a Threadripper board. And all those other motherboards have RGB lighting on there, which is, you know, depending on the person, you know, some people might like it, some people won't like it. I'm one of the people who doesn't. I just don't like RGB. As for me, I see no value in RGB if it has no use case for what I'm using it for. So, this is why I am not putting RGB in any of my computers. This goes double or even triple for my file server. You know, integrated single color LEDs are fine. RGB, get that out of here. Alright, so that's all plugged in. Gonna connect up some cables. I'm gonna connect some cables before I plug in, or before I put a CPU cooler in there. Come on, 24 pin, get in here. There we go. Alright, where's that 8 pin CPU? Here we go. I just hope my 600 watt supply has enough wattage to drive this system. But I guess I will find out, won't I? It would also help if I had some light. Oh, come on, CPU connector, get in there. Okay. So. SSD there. Optical drive there. I think this is it. That's my 1 terabyte blue. My 1 terabyte blue, I don't know. You know, I try to plug in as many drives as I can to the board. In this case, I'm going to be plugging in 4 to the board, which the board only has 4 ports on it. Come on. There we go. So, now I've got all that installed. I'm going to be putting this graphics card back into the case because until the Ryzen APUs launch, I can't use the onboard VGA, DVI, or HDMI on my motherboard. So just for now, I'm going to put this card back in. Yeah, I know, it's a lame-o card, but I'm only going to be using it to serve as a display adapter. Thankfully, I won't have to put in an Ethernet card because I got the manual on one of my monitors here. I'll find the specs. Let's see. Components. That'll be good. Here we go. Let's see. Awesome. Onboard PCI Express Gigabit Ethernet. That'll work. That's just perfect, actually. Okay, now to connect the front. Yeah. The front panel LED. The front panel connectors. Where's my light? I swear sometimes I can't find that thing. Here it is. It's under the case. Alright. I'm just going to follow the manual. So, HDD LED. On the hard drive and power activity LEDs, it actually matters which way you plug in the connector. So let's see. Positive, or the negative, is usually the black wire. Yeah, there we go. So just following the manual. Oh, okay, so apparently I was doing that wrong. So, hard drive LED like that. Power LED. I moved the manual to my main display here. So the green wire on the power LED connector goes to the outside, while the white connector goes to the inside. Okay, let's see. 5 and 7 are the reset switch, so I'm going to find a reset switch. Now those two headers are from network cards. Oh crap, I accidentally screwed down my motherboard without realizing that I accidentally screwed down a fan cable. Oh, please tell me that it's freaking stuck to the standoff, and it is. Piss. Alright, so this is one of the things that can happen. So every so often you'll come across a screw that'll just cross thread. Which I should have double checked to see if it was cross threading before I screwed the thing down. Which I didn't know. I'm gonna have to get in there with a pair of pliers and my screwdriver. So set that there. Actually, set this in the very end. Well, didn't want to get caught on another thing. Alright, so I'm gonna grab a multi-tool. Move these USB cables out of the way. Okay. Oh, since I had standoffs here. I hope I don't have to take this board out just to fix an issue with a standoff. But it seems I might have to. Freaking perfect. Just what I needed. Actually, I got a cheeky solution. Crap. Oh, get back here. Stupid screw. This is why you should always check. Make sure your screws aren't cross-threading. So you can avoid scenarios like what I'm having to go through. Just need to get the board. Luckily, I didn't have too many things connected. Okay, EVGA, if you're watching, on your 600B, make the CPU connector a double 4-pin that's a breakaway. This is really inconvenient. There's the standoff. Okay. Ratchet everything down again. Oh, it's cross-threading. No. Okay. Crisis averted. Screw on around there. Okay, there's the screw. Don't kill me. so that's there. Responding to someone on Steam. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can figure out why this freaking screw wants to keep cross-threading. There. Hopefully, there should not be any more cross-threading. Note that I said hopefully. Okay, now I gotta find that one other screw that wanted to keep cross-threading. Oh, here it is. Okay. Remember how I said famous last words and saying, I hope it goes smoothly? The screw cross-threading was showing me up and why I shouldn't assume. Okay, I'm going to plug in this CPU connector first. And plug in the main motherboard connector. Okay, so now put the video card back in. Now I can get this other motherboard box out of the way and focus on putting other components in. So what I'm gonna do, seeing how I have an empty expansion slot near my video card. Put this in there. Hoping this would be a quick video, but again, just look at the video time. It probably ended up taking like 20 minutes or so, or even more than that. I don't know. Putting in a PCI-E SATA card, because again, I'm out of ports on my board. Stiff back. Actually, I want to put something different there. I'll put this 8-port card in that in place there. Now I tried using that 8-port PCIe card with my other motherboard, but apparently a driver, a very bad driver, it would work, but it was very buggy. And it would work for like 3 out of 4 times it would boot, normally, and then the 4th time the operating system would just continually crash, and I couldn't get back into it, even in safe mode. So, but luckily I found a driver on the website of the company that I bought the card from. And hopefully it works. I'm putting another card in there, as you can see. Both of these cards are known good. I'm looking at these 2 cards here. Well, it'd be helpful if I would put it into the camera. And these are practically the same chip. So I'm going to put one of these PCI internal SATA cards in to this PCI slot down here if it will want to go in. There we go. I'll put this 4-port eSATA card in and see if the drivers will work with it, or if I can find drivers. And if it works, then I'll have an easy way to expand my server without having to purchase another chassis. Sure, it's a 64-bit PCI-X card, but I have yet to see if it works. And there we go. Now, you might be wondering as I connect a few cables here. Why am I using a gaming motherboard for a file server? Well, very simple. It was given to me by that very same guy who scrapped his computer. And that's how I got both of these Ryzen processors. And again, the rest, you could say, is basically history. To be extremely cheesy. It's probably so cheesy it's Swiss. There we go. I'm gonna put these fans back in. Move the SSD. I am definitely going to have to reinstall Windows, but then again, that's fine with me. I did it when I built my new main computer, so. Come on, little screw, get in there. There we go. And before people get their pants in a knot, I'm going to be putting a CPU cooler in there. I just want to get this fangirl installed. actually reinstalled and out of the way before I progress. Come on, there we go. Sometimes these things don't align. There we go. Didn't want to thread. I thought it didn't want to thread in for a second there. Okay, so my CPU cooler is another Gamax 400. Because while I do have a Corsair all-in-one liquid cooler, I was thinking of using it in my main rig, but I don't know if it'll even fit in a rack mount case. I might have to ask Corsair on that. But anyway, there's the blue LED fan. As you can see, it's a tower cooler. Yeah, you want to remove this, because if you don't, you could cook your CPU and not even know it, even if the CPU cooler is on top of it. And I got my mounting hardware here. I'm going to need the AM4 hardware, so take that out. Alrighty. Little thing of thermal paste, which is always nice. Apparently there's screws included with the thermal paste bag. Oh, right. Because you have to attach the mounting bracket for the AM4 socket to the cooler. Now if I can just find a little screwdriver, preferably a Phillips head. Where did I put it? This is kind of inconvenient. Well, I would prefer to use a tiny screwdriver. Luckily, I have a tiny screwdriver bit I can use in my ratchet driver. Just make sure I grab the right one. Yep, there we go. Take the extension bit off. Come on, get in there, yes. Haha. Now for this style cooler, I like to have the this big lever here pointing towards the outside. And do not lose these little tiny screws. I don't even know if you can find these little tiny screws at a hardware store, because if you lose one of these screws, you may have to order another cooler. One more to go. I'll install the cooler, then finish up some cabling. And that should be the end of this upgrade video. Now, I do plan to have another upgrade. I do have another upgrade planned for this, for my server here. I'm gonna make sure the CPU is in there fully. And then, I'm gonna cut it open. If I could get the scissors out, there we go. Hold on. can fix that later. Anyway. So, we're gonna use all the paste in the bag. Or in the included packaging. Toss that there. And then I'm probably gonna struggle completely with this CPU cooler. So, hold on. Sorry for that 30 to 60 seconds of silence. I had a missed phone call. Now, let's see, where's my friggin' light? Here it is. Set it on the thermal paste. And of course, I friggin' missed it. Finally, here we go. Now, don't be a dumbo like me and install a CPU cooler. And your graphics card is already in the system. Okay. Screwdriver. Okay. Now the cooler's in. Put the graphics card back in again. Now connect this to CPU fan header. Oh, come on. I just need to connect the rest of my front panel connections. So let's do that again. Yay. Light. Hard drive LED. Power LED negative. No, I missed. power LED negative, power LED positive. Now with the switches, it doesn't matter which way you plug them in. If I can just find them. Oh, there they are. Then reset switch goes in front. And there we go, that's all the front panel. Now to just connect the rest of my SATA cables to my expansion cards, and that will wrap up this video. Oh man, this took much longer than it should have. It should have only taken like 10 or 20 minutes to, I don't know. I'll have to check the video timestamp when I look at the file. But yeah, it took way too freaking long. There's a couple of little front panel things here, but again, my motherboard doesn't have the network card LED readouts, so I'm going to tuck those away. Any cable that I missed? Of course there's cables that I miss. When isn't there? Okay, let's see. So that's 8 cables connected, so just 2 more. I'll just reconnect my exhaust fans. And of course it doesn't want to go back together. Piece of crap. Okay, if I can just get these two connectors together, that will finish off this video. Of course they don't want to go together. Typical. Okay, and that will finish up this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video when I have an idea for one. Peace out and have a good one.